So I'm working on a T300 Bobcat A5GU series serial number, and I got the track off, the motor off. Everything came apart pretty easy. I got stuff blocked off for keep the dust out. I'm gonna rebuild this side of the pump. I'm having a weak drive motor issue where it feels like the brake is locked up. So I'm kind of assuming that the one of the seals has gone bad and oil's leaking past, and there's not enough pressure hydraulic oil wise to push against it and release the brakes. So I have a feeling the brakes are dragging. I've got a code on the machine that says clogged filter again, and it's got new it's got a new hydrostat pump. It's got one new drive motor, and now this one has gone bad as well. So I'm gonna tear it apart, and I bought all the seals from Bobcat. I went on their website, and it's pretty easy to find all the parts online with all the part numbers, and ordered everything up. Keep you updated. I will say right off the bat that there's tremendous spring pressure when you're pulling this plate off, so don't pull all your bolts out at once. I've just slowly worked my way around. And as you can see, a lot of pressure there. Looks like we're all backed off for the most part now. Should be able to pull them all out now. That's not a good sign. Is there a grease or Loctite on that? Looks like that's grease. Yeah, I think somebody had been in this one before. It's got almost 5,000 hours on the machine, so I guess that's not too surprising to me. Just pulled all the bolts out of it. Pulled this plate off, and there's grease there. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There shouldn't be anything there, I don't think, but I don't know. Like I said, I've never had one of these apart. So I guess I'll look up, try to find somebody else that's rebuilt one of these and see if there's supposed to be grease there. I know there's not supposed to be oil there. That's probably part of our problem. This is probably a spring brake of some kind. It's all got hardened grease and oil on it. Yeah, I'm not sure why there's grease there. And oil. Shouldn't be anything on this side.
What are we going to do
Okay, so what I've done now is I've applied air pressure to this port here, and it's pushed out this piston, I guess you could call it. And there's so much grease on this thing. It's like somebody tried to seal it with grease, which did not work at all. Or they tried to install it with grease maybe, but they used way too much grease. Or maybe it's supposed to be greased and I just don't know what I'm talking about. But for now, I'm cleaning up all this dried off grease and trying to get it apart. So I got it apart. And that is some nasty junk. I don't know what that is or why it's in there, but it's not supposed to be in there. I'm sure of that. That's supposed to be strictly hydraulic oil. This seal ain't horrible, but you can definitely tell where it's leaked past. Yeah, I don't know why that junk is in there. That's just disgusting. It's almost like a silicone. This brass bushing is scored really, really bad. I did order a new one of those. I'm glad I did that. Unless it might be supposed to have those grooves in it, but it feels like it's scored in between the grooves as well. I don't know. I don't know if that shaft is supposed to come out yet or not. I think these are my brake discs. There's definitely a seal here. And that seal is bad. It's been bad. It wasn't actually in place. Not seeing any sort of retainer for that disc. Unless they're behind this whole piece, which is possible. He only ordered me one or two of them, so that's not good. I'm gonna have to see if I can't figure out this. Well, I got all the brake discs out. There are inner and outer discs. So this is an outer gear. This one's an inner gear. So the inner gear discs will be driven by the shaft here. And then the outer gear discs will be driven by this hub. Held in place by the hub, rather. So these are always constantly spinning on each other. They're lubricated with oil, and then they are part of your brake. In the parts breakdown on the website, it only shows like one of each, and so they only ordered me one of each. But there's tons. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30. There's 30. So 15 of each. And then there's 2, 4, 6, 7 outers. by themselves, clear at the bottom. Not really sure what the purpose of that is. Maybe it's that shaft can have some play. I'm not sure. And then there's 3 shims, 2 decently thick ones and 1 really flimsy thin one. So, and they only ordered me 1 shim. So I guess I'm going to reuse everything here except for the 2 that look really bad. This one here and this one here on the other side of it are burnt really bad. Those were the 2 worst ones. I mean, this one here is not hot. I mean, they're not too great, but it'll be fine. I found more silicone. So this seal has silicone behind it. I don't know what their purpose of using silicone was. Unless they just reused the old gaskets and seals. I guess they could have just siliconed the old ones back in. I don't know. I'm gonna take this shaft back out. There's 0 play in the shaft. There's 0 wear marks of any kind on the shaft, which is good. There's 0 shaft marks or any sort of gear marks on this gear, which is really good because that part's crazy expensive, and so is this, and so is what we're about to find out, the rest of it. So, that shaft just went in there. I gotta get that back out. It's probably held in with hydraulic fluid. And then I'm gonna take this whole housing off. I think they call this a distributor or something. And I'm gonna check the timing of it, because none of this is bad in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you have those 2 burnt ones, but there's no shavings. None of these teeth are worn off, so I don't think any of that is my problem. I might have a problem here where I had that grease and oil on the other side of that. That might be part of the problem, but I don't think I've found the problem yet. So I'm wondering if the distributor's just not quite timed right, and that it's like it has power when it goes, and it's continuously the same forward and backward. So it could be that something's worn inside there, inside the main piston part of the pump. So I'm gonna tear it apart and go from there. Well, I had to run to town to get a socket. Just take a 14mm hex drive socket, and I've had to heat every single one of them up. Get them down here where the threads are at. About 2-3 minutes apiece, and they finally come out with the impact. I've got the 1,400 foot-pound impact, and there's still not one come out. That's it. Yeah, I tried a brand new battery and everything, and they weren't budging. Not without heat. Now I can probably pull her apart. Well, I got the main part of the hub off. It came off with the ring here. There's a slight amount of wear in there. And then each one of these are worn like that. So I'm not sure what's going on yet. But every one of those has that groove. That bit of scarring. So I don't know if something just got in there and grabbed them all, or if something's actually going on. There's quite a bit of rust on the bottom side of this. So there's been water in the system at one point in time, and it sat. Not sure how all that comes off yet. I think these probably are over the oil chambers or channels. Oil journals, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I got oil on my face now. That seems to function just fine. Not sure what to do. Can anybody attempt to tell me if this is too much wear on the rollers? There's a bit of scarring on the middle of each one of them. And then on the rotating ring, or whatever they call it, there's a bit of scarring as well. Not horrible. This pump has weak, like this drive motor is weak. It functions just fine, except for when you go to turn. It's weaker than the other side, and it's just not right. But each one of these spins just fine, and they only have the slightest amount of feel with a fingernail. I mean, it doesn't even catch hardly. As you can see there, I can feel that, but I'm not really catching on it. I don't know where and how these drive motors are timed. Maybe it's because I'm to one side of this right now, or maybe that's just the way it's sitting right now. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's just the way it's sitting. But if somebody could tell me how to proceed from here, that'd be great. All my clutch discs or brake discs, they seem to be pretty decent. None of them are missing teeth. This one is burnt. On the back side, this one is burnt. I'm gonna replace those two for sure. And then these stationary ones here are just like basically dry oil buildup. But overall, the brake discs seem to be good. There was a lot of grease holding the right in this portion of the motor, on both sides of this piston, I guess you'd call it. And then the spring brake covered in grease. Like somebody's been in here and tried to grease that up so it would actually work better, but it ain't doing nothing. So they just tried to cover up the problem. I think those parts are all fine. Honestly, this seal here seems decent. I'm gonna replace it, but I didn't have a whole lot of oil on this side of the piston. So it's not like it was pushing past the piston real bad. I had decent power, but just not enough power. Great, now I'm losing washers out of it. I don't know where. Probably in here. I hope. Yep, that's where those are coming from. Well, need to make sure I don't lose those. But no, if somebody could tell me where to proceed from here, after dinner, I'm going to try to get this whole rotating group off and see if there's a way to time this pump. Maybe it's out of time and it's just not getting full power, or if something else is wrong. I don't know. Not sure really where to go from here. Any help would be appreciated. Thanks. Okay, so there's a bit of scoring on this as well. Not really sure how this works. So now I'm taking off this snap ring here. I'm not sure what access that gains me. Oh, okay, so that comes up now. I'm not sure how to get this part off. There's like roll pins here maybe. Kind of feels like a roll pin. I'm not sure what that does. There's nothing that reads it. Like there's a hole there and there's a hole there. This is definitely for oil. But there's nothing that reads that in this particular drive motor. I wonder if it has something to do with like the joystick controlled machines or a 2-speed machine maybe. I'm not sure. But now I can move this ring. It comes up, which doesn't give me any more access, I don't think. Not sure what to do here. It doesn't come out any further. I don't need to replace these, so it might allow a person to actually pull those out if everything was out of the way, but I don't see a reason to replace those. Of course, now it won't go back in. There we go. Probably not the right tool to hit with, but whatever. There's supposed to be a pin somewhere. I was reading online. It must be down behind all this. So I'm gonna go try to do some more research and see if I can't come up with that. Because right now I'm not seeing anything that's detrimental. Of course, the pump still worked, or the motor still worked, it's weak. Alright, so where can I get these seals? They go on the pistons. Like a snap ring type seal. I feel like some sort of nylon. They go right here on the piston as it slides down into the roller part of the motor, I guess. They seem fine, but I would like to replace them while I'm here. I just can't find a parts breakdown that includes those. I can find the pistons, I can find the rollers, but I cannot find just the seals. Well, that's all I could find for footage of that project. Those seals right there that I was showing you at the end, I think about 4 or 5 of them ended up being bad. I was able to find some through a third-party website and ordered them and got them installed and replaced the rest of the seals and the rest of the drive motor. After that, that motor had tremendous power. It's just as much power as the other side, but it was still slower when turning. So I never did solve the issue completely. But when you're going into a pile of rock or something, it would spin out both tracks. Whereas before, the one wouldn't even spin. You know, it would go until you had pressure against it, and then it would just stop. But yeah, I got it all back together and got the machine going again. It was a lot better than I had originally, but it still wasn't 100%. So I don't know what I missed. If I were to need a drive motor again, I would probably just spend, you know, the $3,000 or whatever it is to have one rebuilt. Having tore into it and spent beneficial to pay somebody to do that knows what they're doing and has the proper tools to do it. But at the time, I did not have that $3,000 sitting around to be able to do that, and I needed the machine to be operational. And so this is what I came up with. It ended up working, and I was able to use the machine for the period of time that I needed, and that's all that came of it. So hopefully this will help some of you out there.